Folks, could the Dow lose ground for a third week straight? 12,595, that is the magic number to look for today, and there is plenty of news happening in the next hour of Fox Business. We're live at Rikers Island, where former IMF chief Dominique Strauss-Kahn is waiting to be released on $1 million bond, but he is going to be staying on the island of Manhattan under house arrest. We look ahead to his trial and what DSK's new life will look like. Plus, we are standing by for comments from the Oval Office from President Obama and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Can the two leaders find common ground on a two-state solution? And have you heard the world is ending tomorrow? Well, okay, just in case it doesn't end, we have stock tips for the day after. Hi, everybody. I'm Cheryl Casoni, and joining me for the hour today, I've got James Frischling, NewOak Capital co-founder and president, and FoxBusiness.com's Dunstan Pryall. We begin with the information you need right now. We've got Phil Flynn in the trading pits of the CME, and Nicole Pedalides kicking things off on our market coverage from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, where it's looking like we're going to have a third straight week to the downside, Nicole.
I guess nobody's surprised that Greece was downgraded all of a sudden and the prices come back. But take a look at oil. This was incredible. We were down almost $3 on oil. We're now only down 77, coming back up. Gold is now higher by 19 bucks, back above 15.12. Maybe they're concerned about the end of the world. Buy gold for the end of the world. And what about silver? But yeah, it was really an incredible swing in price. It ran down, hit some key support. They didn't follow through. It came roaring back. It was just an incredible day.
Let me bring in James Frischling into all. Let me bring in James Frischling into all of this, because I want to find out kind of what you're watching. It has been a very volatile week. It's been a volatile 3 weeks, in fact.
No, and I think right now there's a little battle going on between the strength of the U.S. equity markets that we've had and the amount of the headwinds. And I think to a certain extent the news out of Greece, the basis between Greek bonds and German bonds, I think it hit a high point. And I think even some of the dislocation that's being caused by the IMF. So the headwinds this week are winning. Plus you have U.S. economic data that's a little less than expected or weaker than expected. So as a result, I don't think the market's going to fall out of bed, but I understand the sideways and even the pressure to sell off a little bit.
Let me take that bond issue back to Phil Flynn just for a moment, because if you looked at Greek bonds, I think 16.75% or so, that was the yield. I mean, that's incredible. That's almost ridiculous, Phil.
It is ridiculous. And whenever you find ridiculous, Cheryl, you got to wonder why it's ridiculous, because there's a heck of a lot of risk. I mean, we're talking about default. A lot of people are saying, hey, that'll never happen. They're never going to let that happen, but that's why you're getting 16%, because it could absolutely happen. Now, do I think it's going to happen? It really doesn't matter. The risk, and what you're seeing is the true risk in that marketplace. And Greece is far from settled. How many times, Cheryl, have we tried to sweep Greece under the rug over the last 2 years in this market? All the markets say, hey, we forget about Greece, that's all taken care of, but it comes back to bite us. Investors have to be very, very wary. But hey, if you're looking for some yield, it's kind of a good short-term play if you can stand the pain.
Real food served in environments that engage people by our associates who have a degree of self-respect. The totality of that experience is something that has moved people and made Panera the best performing stock in the restaurant universe when measured over the last decade, and the second best stock in the S&P Consumer Index.
Mm-hmm. Ron,
you deliver for the guest.
You do.
Ron, I really enjoyed the story, and congratulations on the 1 year of the Pay What You Want. Was there a particular surprise, whether to the upside or maybe to a disappointment, that you could share with this campaign?
No, I have to tell you something, right? I mean, we did it as a way to repay the communities that have done so well for us. We did it because we give $150 million in product and cash a year. We wanted to do something with our own arms and legs, our hands. And the reality is that this has worked better than we ever thought. Humanity is fundamentally good. Now remember, this isn't part of our business. This isn't a nonprofit. This isn't a foundation. Any excess revenues over cost has gone into training programs for at-risk kids. We just graduated our first class of young people who quite frankly had no chance of employment and are today taxpayers with real jobs. This is good stuff, and people get it. And people are responding to it at that level, and fundamentally people are good. The truth is 20% of guests leave more than the suggested donation in a donation bin. 60% leave the suggested donation, and 20% leave less.
You know what, Ron? Again, we showed that 1 year chart to our viewers. I think it's fascinating that you've got a company that's expanding, doing well. You're building value for the shareholders, but you're also doing good at the end of the day. And that's a great message for our viewers. Ron, it's great to have you back. It's great to check in with you a year later.
Cheryl, thank you.
All right, Ron Shaich, Panera Bread Company Executive Chairman, and of course the founder of that company. Once again, so for all of you at home, not so sure about this whole end of the world theory, are you? Just in case, we've got a few stock ideas if you expect life to continue past May 21st. Dunstan Pyle has some stock ideas.
These are my picks in case I'm around on Sunday or Monday.
Okay.
I want LinkedIn because obviously we found out yesterday this is the greatest company ever. That's obvious.
Okay.
I want Anheuser-Busch InBev or Brown-Forman. Those are the makers of Bud and Jack Daniels, respectively, because if all this goes down, I'm going to need a shot and a beer.
Yeah.
Okay. General Dynamics or Northrop Grumman, both big defense contractors. I'm going to build a huge arc. Leave the rest of you wherever, but I'm going to be on my arc. If it gets worse than that, I'm going to want Boeing because I'm going to build a space shuttle and I'm going to get out of here entirely.
Just still one. There's a few laying around.
Conversely, I may say the heck with all of it and go to Vegas instead. And if so, I'm going to get MGM Resorts International, and I'll see you all in Vegas on Monday.
So you're going to be drunk and gambling and building a space shuttle all at the same time. Wow, that's a good plan, Doug.
Or not. If nothing happens, I'll just be me.
Okay. Jim, what about you? If the world is ending, and then or doesn't end, you're around.
Off of Dunstan's themes, I went with a couple of the world doesn't end new resolutions. So I'm going to start working out more. So I wanted to go long Bally's. I think people want to get healthy again, and town sports I thought were decent ideas, and also a kind of a spread trade of while I love the company, maybe out of Yum, given all the Pizza Hut, the KFC, and the comfort food, and into more General Mills products. So more of a health.
Captain Crunch. As opposed to the
out of Crunch and into Cheerios. Okay. So again, if it continues, if the world continues, we have to look for a little life extension.
I have to say, maybe people are just going out and pigging out because, like Lauren said, time to get rid of the diet because the restaurant sector has actually been doing very well.
Absolutely.
Over the last few weeks. Maybe folks are saying, never mind. I'm just going to go for the donut.
And if it doesn't end, I think we're going to have to unwind that a little bit and respect Yum, but maybe try to eat a little healthier.
All right. So you're going to focus on working out. You got the opposite next to you. Dunstan's I'm going to be drunk.
I'm going bananas. In fact, I hope it does happen now, and I've got myself all worked up.
Well, let's see what the viewers had to say, because we got a bunch of really funny emails. We asked all of you at home, so if the world ended tomorrow, what would you spend your money on today? A woman after my own heart, Jillian, says chocolate and wine. I like that. Jillian, I like what you're thinking on this, chocolate and wine. Al says he would spend his money on lots of booze. Dunstan seems to be nodding in agreement with you. You and Jillian.
You can get together.
Could hang out, and Al.
Yeah.
You and Al and Jillian could all hang out, eating and drinking together. And then this is my favorite email. Scott out of Denton, Texas says he wants a ticket to Mars. That is his plan.
Well, he can get on my space shuttle with me.
Yeah. Well, and see if it just diverts to Mars instead of circling the Earth like it's doing right now.
All of which is as plausible as the world coming to an end tomorrow.
Because it's so happening. Anyway, God, there's some crazy people out there. Anyway, but you're not crazy. We love hearing from you. Email me your thoughts, Cassoni@foxbusiness.com. You can always find me on my blog. That is CassoniExchange.com. And I'm on Twitter. So tweet back at me, tweet to me, whatever you want to do. @Cheryl Cassoni is my handle. I write back if you tweet at me, I promise. We'll let all of you know that coming up noon Eastern time on Monday, it is time for Entitlement Nation. Makers versus takers. Congressman Joe Walsh of Illinois is going to be here with his take on how we have become a nation of takers. You cannot afford to miss that one. I want to thank Dunstan and Jim. Great to spend a Friday afternoon with both of you. And it's always a pleasure. Dunstan's going to go start with the shots after this. Lori Rothman and Chris Cotter are up right now, guys.